Hey, welcome to the Yuppie Flu Show. Today I have my first guest with me, career day. I've got
Woo! That's us.
Desmond here.
Yeah.
His name I do know. And,
Yeah. Thank you for having us. We're glad. We're the first.
Very first.
Wow.
I've done one intro, kind of like 15-20 minute episode, just to be like, hey, I exist.
So we're
And
the best
then-
episode
yeah.
so far.
Absolutely.
This is great.
Yeah.
This is good for us.
I'm sure people will like
This
this
is
so much
humongous.
more than me just being like, I go to shows and I do stuff and maybe you'll want to watch this. It's almost like a pitch more.
Yeah. I guess I can pass
Yeah.
the mic around.
Everyone, can introduce themselves.
I'm Jacob. I play guitar.
My name's Kamal. I play the drums.
I'm Milo. I play bass.
And they're playing tonight at the Quarry House in Maryland.
Oh yeah.
That's,
Excited.
That's
late
what really brought
late
me
show,
up.
all ages show. That's a unique combo, but we're glad to rip. It's family friendly.
Yeah.
All ages shows. It's like
Forget the babysitter. Bring the kids.
yeah.
Is Two Thumbs Down a pop punk band? They're the only band that I'm not familiar with.
They're like indie punk, I think is what
Oh,
their
okay.
Instagram listed them as. I haven't had a chance to check them out yet, but obviously I'll hear them tonight. So, and then
Are you guys familiar with Cunny?
We played with them many a time. We played a house show at it's a couple of their houses, right?
yeah, we played a show at their house called the Heist Mice in Rockland, Maryland.
Oh yeah. It's a distance away.
Last fall, and then we've played with them in DC at it's the venue that's like a drum shop. I can't remember what it's called.
Drum shop.
The Pocket.
The Pocket.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
good,
don't think I've been there
good
either.
ass spot.
I saw them play in DC at a different shop, the Pie Shop.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
think they opened an equipment show.
Nice. Have had plenty of conversations with them about Thursday, like
The band?
Yeah, the band Thursday.
That was
of course.
okay. My first episode was just me pretty much glazing the band Thursday. 'Cause
Great,
I had just seen
perfect.
them like a week ago.
Perfect connection there, and yeah, there's so much Thursday influence on CUNY, or at least that I feel, and I've
Maybe that's why I
Yeah.
instantly was like, I love this band.
yeah. To that point, I kind of like, it's fun playing. Like, it's not necessarily mixed genre shows, but like playing shows, mixed subgenre shows. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to play a show where it's not this, like, it's clear that like the four fans for each band wouldn't have a lot of overlapping bands, like as far as like if you were to like scale up like 2 or 3 times of like reach of like sound comparisons,
Right.
it would be like very different bands.
Yeah, things that make sense but are also kind of take up a different space. It's not like listening to the same band over and over and over.
It's fun. It's fun going to shows like that, and it's fun being on bills like that.
I like it even as like a listener because you can go there knowing 1 or 2 bands, and then every band can kind of blow you away unexpectedly.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why even like Coachella, which is where I first heard you guys from, last year, the curation of like that festival and other ones just like it. It's so great. Yeah, I feel like I walked away with like 10 new favorite bands at least.
the way I described like Coachella to like coworkers and relatives that ask how's the band, how was the tour or whatever, like I like compared it to like if 20 years ago MySpace and like Pure Volume, like if there was like a festival like where it's similar in the sense of like the top rung of it was like bands that have gotten to do some international touring even,
Yeah.
But then like just a couple like rungs down on the poster, it's just a lot of grinding good DIY and up and coming like pop punk emo bands, and that are just like plying their craft and just kind of starting to get out there.
The camera guy that does Leisure Hours stuff, Ethan.
Yeah.
or Ethy.
Ethy.
I think he played his first show there. Opening
Well,
one of the days.
their band. Yeah, I remember their band played. Was it the?
It
I
was
can't
like
remember
an
if their first-
acoustic
their first-
duo.
Yeah.
It was a little rough.
But
But
But it was fun though. They were.
but it was, yeah, it's awesome having that be a part of the experience. I
Yeah.
think it's like great where it's not just like you said, marquee kind of names.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, for sure. And getting to be part of a show, getting to be part of a festival like that was very. I don't know. It was very inspiring for us to get to be part of it. You know, we were lucky. Set time wise, I think it was like 3 hours into the day or so, 3 or 4. So people.
Yeah, it was like 2:30, 3
People are
o'clock.
just
Yeah.
starting to really have their buzz kick in, so they're really
And people show up early to that thing too.
Yeah.
Like those rooms were packed early.
it was packed at Loden, and it was just like, what is happening?
People,
Yeah.
People called out from work, like everyone on a Friday, everyone showed up.
Yeah,
Totally. Was there a gap in between bands? Like, was it a 5-minute gap? Because they had
Less than.
bands in the main room, and then
like
it was
30
almost
seconds.
like as
It-
soon as one band done, you had enough time to like go outside, take a breather, and then walk back in. And
If that, like I think like there definitely wasn't overlapping, but I think there was straight up sometimes like a band finished and then like some
Really
signal
going.
was made, and then like, okay, the other stage has to start.
And it's fun seeing so many smaller bands kind of. It felt like a lot of people were having like a moment, like even you guys.
That was like we had started touring a bit, I would say summer 2023.
Okay.
So that was like, yeah, that was the first time we ever like left the tri-state area. And
What kind of like areas did you hit when you were like first touring?
I mean, the first thing that we got to do as far as like a run of shows was Glazed took us out on 3 days of their spring 2023 tour, where we played, was Ardmore, Pennsylvania,
We played Albany.
and then like a New York, like a Brooklyn show, and then up in Albany. But yeah, before that we had done some one-offs in South Jersey, Boston a couple times. Just want to escape. We played. Didn't we play DC before we did the Chicago run?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a DC show at
Atlas Brew Works.
at a brewery.
Yeah. Okay. I've been to that one.
So yeah, that's kind of what we had done, but like starting summer 2023 was the first time of us like really hitting the road in a way, and summer 2025 is like, it was kind of a nice like 2-year bow of like the work we'd put in. And
Had you guys been doing like a lot of like little tours from 2023 to 2025? Like, was it kind of somewhat
2023,
consistent?
we did our like first run out to the Midwest, where we did like 5 days, and we played Chicago, we played Bowling Green, we played Pittsburgh, but a bunch of like basically like a few shows out in the Midwest, and then between then and Faux of this past year, we did a bunch of weekenders where we were hitting the Northeast or like Mid-Atlantic, and then we did a couple of 10-day tours. Like we played Fest in 2024, so we toured all the way down from New York all the way to Florida.
See, that's the thing too with like things like Fest. I
Mhm.
feel like I've been to like the last 3 or 4, but I didn't know any of like
There's
these
so many
awesome
bands.
smaller bands.
Yeah.
Like my first year, I went there to see Thursday, and then I stayed for the second day to see Cloud Nothings,
Mhm.
and those were basically in Strike Anywhere, and those were like the 3 bands that I knew, and then everything else, I'm like, oh, there's Pool Kids, and then the second day was like Saturdays at Your Place, Free Throw. That was like my first introduction to all of them. I was totally blind. Like Free Throw blew my mind. I was like, where the fuck did this band come from? Because they had like a massive
Oh, yeah.
crowd that just showed up out of nowhere. Like everybody had a good set, a good crowd. But it seemed like the crowd like tripled just for Free Throw.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, who the fuck is this band?
Yeah.
And then they played, and I was like,
Oh,
okay, I get it. I get it.
Oh yeah.
But then, ever since then, it seems like I go back and look at like these lineups, and I'm like, wow, I now love so many bands that I missed.
It's tough at a bigger festival like that where all of it is like spread out, where it's instead of it being like in one field where there's a bunch of stages, or like a faux where you're in one building.
Yeah.
And so it's all the different venues all around town, and like it's a very much like choose your own adventure sort of thing.
In that first year, I decided to go so last minute that like the 3-day passes were out, so it was like I bought just Bo Diddley Plaza, so I was just stuck there. And then the second day was just the Heartwood stage, so I was just stuck there.
Interesting.
And it was because like even at that point, like I guess maybe 3 years ago, I wasn't super into, or like I just didn't know about like how awesome this underground, especially the emo kind of scene, emo punk rock.
Yeah.
And it's like every band I come across, I'm like, how is every band so awesome, different and awesome?
It's a good moment. It's a good moment in the scene. I talk about it. I've spoken about it with Will from the band Full Blown Meltdown, because he also is a fellow emo old head, and just the amount of good new bands that are all like plying their craft and like very clearly like trying to come up with like distinct sounds and cultures like of their own. I think is like it is the most refreshing it has been. It has a lot of vibes to how it felt like when 20 years ago being in high school, and like a lot of these favorite
first
records
discovering
bands.
So, like so much of this like wave of bands, I feel like it's not necessarily like rooted in any like particular like everyone's trying to sound like this or trying to sound like that. It's just like people are doing what they want to do, and they just want to make music and like have community, which I think is really cool, as opposed to like, I mean, who knows, like maybe when people look back on this time, like they'll have something different to say about that, or like whatever bands like have like a lasting legacy in that, and then and become like the signifiers of that like era or point in time. Everyone's into the same kind of music and doing the same sort of thing, but like they're all like coming from slightly different places, but it's still like you're able to like kind of share in like that overall.
Yeah, I feel like there's way more of a shared ethos and less like every band sounds the same, but it's kind of like everyone's allowed to kind of do, or even like bands that do like come out and they're just like, oh, we're ripping off this band. I feel like that's just accepted, and it's like if you do it good, you're accepted. I feel like there's a lot more of that. And I remember even like when I was younger, there was this common thing where occasionally you would see, like you would go to a show and you would maybe know one band, and then you'd have like 3 or 4 openers, and I just would hate all the openers. Like I feel like that was like a constant theme, whereas now I go to every show and I try to see every band, even if I don't listen to them beforehand, because I'm just like, they're probably going to be awesome. And I feel like I hear that a lot from other people too.
I mean, it's a good moment. It's a good moment for music amidst a bad time to be alive, which is unfortunately like perhaps like there's a parallel there. There's some sort of interconnectivity there that is unfortunate, but it is. I think that's another thing. I think people are trying to cling on to anything that feels like it is even if it's angsty and like sad or dark. Just it is better to be hearing it in a room with other people that rather than just having it be this internal vicious cycle. Having it be this shared like cathartic communal thing, I think is like
you guys have a lot of like lyrics that kind of drive against like the anti-capitalism and a lot of the crap that is going on, I feel like, or like hating your job.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I mean,
I feel like that's a common theme that I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, to me it's I worked at the ACLU of New York, American Civil Liberties Union of New York, from 2016 to 2020, and like there was just this feeling where I was super absorbed in like all the chaos that was going on in government with the first Trump administration, and also just New York, the associative like issues in New York state politics and like local politics on Long Island. And when I would go to shows or listen to bands of like the emo pop punk sound that I like, I felt so alienated by how divorced it seemed it was from the world that was actually going on. It like got to a point where when I left that job, I was like, well, let's just try to write songs again. Like, let's just try to like pursue music again, or just write the songs that you wish you would hear,
Yeah.
And because like it was frustrating watching a lot of bands that have a platform and therefore have a lot of access to energized people that are almost ready, like almost there anyway, to not give them any like concrete direction of like where they should aim their outrage after the show,
Yeah.
beyond the walls of the show, and like so this band is very much driven by like how can we borrow these very like accessible, catchy forms with like messages about right now.
You'll get like people that are like, hey, we don't want politics or whatever in our music. Like you hear that every once in a while. I'm glad I hear that a little less now, but I hate that. I'm always just like a love song is like cool and all, no hate on that, but it's like we could cover a lot of ground here, especially with so many people involved in the scenes. Like,
yeah, I mean,
why be boxed in with things that are just mundane and simple?
Like our first like song that like caught on was like No Problem, and that's a song about like standing up to like model minority myths and tokenization and things like that. And like
Such a good song.
That is how that's basically one of the ways that like we linked up with like Kamal.
Yeah, like so I'm relatively new to the band. I like joined this past like fall, but I ran into Career Day because I actually they were playing in Connecticut with some good friends, Cinema Stare. And
Love Cinema Stare.
Love Cinema Stare, but I had heard No Problem, and I'm Southeast Asian also. I grew up in a majority white state, and so just like hearing like everything that we're talking about right now with like pop punkers have this like amazing opportunity to kind of like lead people to organize, and a lot of times in the past they didn't, and so hearing No Problems was like so refreshing because it's like, oh, okay, like one, somebody's in my shoes in terms of just like being a minority, living up to that model minority status. What does that mean? I hate it,
Yeah.
And then kind of like that was kind of like, oh, my first inkling of like, okay, there's like a space where people actually like are talking about this,
I was thinking of that too, because I feel like at one point I was reading through the lyrics of that song, and it just reminded me of conversations I would have with other friends of mine who are dealing with that. If you do things that are white, then you get just labeled as like a white version of whatever minority you are, or things like that. And a lot of my friends would just struggle with that. It was like you're canceled from every community that you should be in, or you felt weird about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's this whole idea of, I forget the term, but like the children of immigrants, like oftentimes they don't necessarily feel like they belong with their immigrant like families, but at the same time they're othered so much by society that they also don't necessarily feel like they fit in the Western world. And so there's like this weird middle ground of like a lot of people, not even necessarily in pop punk, where it's like, okay, like I'm a little different from my family, other people have made it very clear I'm different from them, so it's like, shit, man. Like
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly.
Kind of.
Yeah. And I think just like bring it back to like pop punk and stuff too, like when you see this like upper layer like super marquee names where like it is super white, and that's not necessarily a problem on the surface, but like there are a lot of things happening on like the bottom layers and the DIY spaces that like don't necessarily like it's not necessarily making its way up to like, hey, like this is a problem we're going to talk about. So
because you don't always, I mean, especially like, again, maybe a little bit more recent you find it, but like 5 to 10 years ago, you didn't really hear anybody talk about white privilege at all.
Totally,
in any
yeah.
kind of context. I think that's something that like I like it when I do come across white people that are on stage and can kind of start addressing that. Like Cinema Stare is actually a great example.
For sure. I think they're very good at just like everybody welcome.
But Quinn's always great about just being like, hey, like we're all like in the same boat here.
For
and
sure. And I think just like going on like other bands killing it nowadays too, like the like how diverse a lot of pop punk is now, like, you know, Love Leisure Hour, you know, obviously like there's us, you know, I don't know if you want to classify them as pop punk, but like Nightlife is like another great band that I really love. That
I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah, like they're
Leisure
just
Hour.
Leisure Hour, of course, you know. So just
homies.
like 100%. Just like it's cool to see it. It's something like, you know, when we're talking about like 20 years ago, like, you know, I was definitely listening to Fall Out Boy, I was definitely listening to all these bands, but you know, no one really looked like me. So it was like, shoot, like where do I get started, you know? So
I always get confused with, because I get surrounded by white people as a white person, and I would have friends, especially like 20 years ago, who would like, again, hate bands that talked about anything that wasn't like basically girls and love songs. And for some reason, I don't know why, but like bands like Thursday and Strike Anywhere, where it's still white people, but they would start addressing these kind of different things, whether it's, you know, war or like cops and like the atrocities that come with capitalism and just being able to frame things in different ways. For me as a white person, felt so good, and to where it wasn't just ignoring it or trying to cast it in a good light. It's kind of like at a certain point you can just kind of be honest and be like, yo, this shit sucks.
I mean, another band that I think of sometimes, just as far as like delving into worldly, you know, matters, is like Thrice is a band that I think like Artists in the Ambulance has like so many songs that just speak to the state of the world then. But they were on, you know, they were on Warped Tour also, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there were bands there, but like I think it almost felt like there were two worlds at Warped Tour at that time, you know?
Yeah.
There was like the like summertime anthem
And
songs.
then the more like serious side of things on the opposite end.
Yeah, and it was we're trying to synthesize the two ends of that, you know, the most crazy head-on collision in Warped Tour history, you know.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be exclusive. They don't have to be exclusive from each other, you know. Like
Yeah.
why can't we like feel like we're having a good time, but still wanting to like you know, like address what's going on in the world and like try to tackle the issues like all together as like a collective unit, right? I feel like so much of pop punk and emo music is like trying to like come together in some way, shape, or form. So like, why can't we like it's basically organizing, right? Why can't we like organize in a way to like actually do something, or at least like help people like feel less alone in this like really messed up time that we're living in right now?
Not to like switch topics, but
yeah, for sure.
So I crashed their like dinner earlier. And, on the walk over here, you were telling me about recording new songs.
Yep. So we took a lot of the last year to just recalibrate some things. Hence Milo and Kamal joining.
Did you join about the same time as? We got options.
All right, I'll take this one, I guess. I joined slightly after Chemo joined. Yeah, I filled in on a weekender in early December of last year as just like, you know, a temporary kind of like mercenary sort of thing. And just like really loved playing, really loved the music, really loved the company, really loved the environment, the ethos. Yeah. All of that. And I knew that, you know, they were looking for a bassist, and so after that I just texted and was like, hey, you know, like no pressure, but like if you're looking for people, I'd like to like throw my name in on that, and it just worked out. Here we are. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so we wanted to. That was part of this whole thing of after Fochella. We were like, we've been grinding for a couple of years. We want to take a next step, and there were just some lineup changes that were, to come from there. And we had these songs that we had been writing that we were sitting on, and we finally got to record 2 of them a couple weeks ago with Nick Starantino, who out on Long Island, who did the Summer Brews record. He's done a lot of Dear Mary Ann.
Infinity guys. Is it
yeah.
God, okay, yeah.
And
that was so good.
yeah, we recorded 2 weeks ago. We did 2 songs, and it was the smoothest recording, like bizarrely smooth recording session in terms of like, we basically got done almost 2 days early, and I remember like waking up on the 3rd day, because like everything, like nothing took more than like hour and a half or 2 at most to like
for everybody to each lay down their own parts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and do all like the different guitar parts and stuff. Yeah.
And it was so like it was so affirming to get to hear, because it was like it's been hard to go quiet for a little while,
Yeah.
Didn't want to, but it was just circumstances line up the way they do sometimes. And
when they left, were you guys like trying to, like, at that point were you like, let's just cool it for a minute and like regroup in a few months?
Yes and no.
yeah. I
Or
mean,
was
I
it
would say
just,
that we
like,
wanted to.
Hard to find people.
We were very particular about who we wanted to find, just because with doing the band shit as an adult, it's just like it's a lot harder to make the time. It's a lot harder to spend the money.
Oh yeah.
And it's like one of those things where we wanted to be really sure that once we got going, we could just go. And we didn't want to rush it, but there's no way, if we rushed into things, that wouldn't have, that wouldn't have been for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was like a good, I would say, like, I don't think we ever truly like just like stopped doing stuff. Like, Desmond and I were still doing a ton in the background of like honing some of the song ideas that we had come up with, like just the 2 of us, and then also like, I think there was a good month period where we tried a new drummer or a new bass player out like almost like every week, just like trying like meeting people like online or.
Was it harder finding people that were like-minded in general, or like was it harder to find people that actually gelled musically?
We had a few people that were very like into like wanting to be a part of it, but I think like musically, I think there were sometimes like differences, or just like New York in and of itself is such a big city where there's like a lot of people that just like want to be in a band.
Oh, yeah.
And like answering our Facebook or Craigslist or whatever, like, or postings, like just because they like want to be a part of something.
Mm-hmm.
Which is no shade to that, but
they couldn't really sign up to do more of the touring or the more serious sides of it. I mean, not to throw any shade
no, I
or
mean,
anything at
I don't even
anybody.
think it ever got that far. It just kind of was like, it just wasn't like dynamics just like weren't like really working. And then we had remembered that Kamal moved to Philly since the last time that we had seen him, and we knew that he was like a incredible drummer. So we were just like, let's like.
Were you playing in a different band before, or is this like your first?
Kinda, sorta. So I, like, a lot of my background is in like jazz and funk music. So I was doing a lot of like sitting in with bands, but not being like a full-time member at that time.
Okay.
The way the story goes is like literally the day after I moved to Philly, Career Day was playing in the city, and so I go to the gig, and I'm just like standing around. I think I was like, I swear I was just looking at my phone, and then Desmond just comes up to me and he goes, "Holy shit, Kamal, like, what are you doing down here?"
Like driven all the way from Maine, because Kamal used to live in Maine, and when we met him the first time, he had driven all the way from Maine to Connecticut. So you're like, damn, this guy likes this band so much that he drove all the way from Maine to Philly.
Yeah, because like 3 weeks before that show, we were in Boston, and it's like, dude, that was way closer,
I mean, like, technically I did drive from Maine to Philly the day before, but to move.
Yeah.
But
Jeez,
like,
yeah.
Desmond was just like, hey, like, really good to see you. I love your Instagram videos. Like, you know, we may need a drummer after our summer tour. So, like, you know, if you want to talk about it, like, after the summer, like, you know, like, let's connect and stuff like that. And so Desmond drops this, and then I'm like, oh God, I hope they don't find another drummer. And they, you know, they go on their tour, they play Faux, which looked like really fun from the outside.
So that tour.
Yeah, that tour was not one that I was on. Yeah. And then, you know, they offered to come to Philly to audition me, and I thought it was a good time. You know, I hope they felt the same way.
Spoiler, yeah.
Considering you're still here, I think it went well.
Made it this far. Woo! But yeah, it was totally like, a lot of it was just kind of like luck, I feel like, you know, just like them just so happening to like play, you know, the day after I moved there, and then, you know, them kind of like reaching back around after, like, I think you guys had like tried playing with another drummer who had like kind of worked out, but then it wasn't going to work out long term, and then you guys kind of reached out to me. And then yeah, I actually just like going on the point of like, you know, filling out the rest of the lineup and stuff too. You know, I had joined before Milo did, and I was there for like a couple bass auditions, and I think like the people that we had audition on bass were like good, you know, cool hangs, capable on the bass, but it was a lot of like guitarists playing bass, which like is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think as not a guitarist, I think, you know, probably your mind is in like two different places. You know, the bass has like a specific role in a lot of tunes, and when you kind of like vary off of that, it doesn't necessarily like mesh well. Yeah. And so having Milo kind of like sit in with us, and him being like a real ass bass player and not like somebody who just also happens to know how to play the bass, I think was like,
I guess that kind of like fits in with what you were saying about like people who just wanted to be in a band, but they might be trying out for something that's not even their like passion.
Yeah, and like he's also leaving out an important point that like these two guys they've known each other since like childhood, and they've been playing together in various ensembles. Like,
is it the same for you two? Have you two been in like the career day like since the beginning?
Basically.
I guess I don't.
Basically, like there was a version of the band before I joined, but it was kind of like,
it was just kind of it literally was just a demo of just like making a couple of songs with like some friends of mine, just to feel out like
to get started.
Like, just to do it kind of.
Yeah, and then, you know, so like, you know, extenuating circumstances, and then Desmond and our like original drummer were looking for like somebody else to join and like just kind of like keep things moving. So I joined the band 7 years ago, and then it's just been, you know, the two of us ever since.
Yeah, this like COVID basically like stalled the band's like getting to even start out. For
I can imagine.
Like all of it.
It seemed to either like stall out bands or like launch bands.
Yeah.
You had one of the two.
Yeah. So we our first show was like
March 15th or 18th.
The first show that we ever booked was like March 15th, 18th, something like that. 2020, and it didn't happen. And then
for like 2 years.
Yeah. So, you know, as it pertains to the recordings like that we've just done, it was nice to get to feel simultaneously this new breath of the band, but also like this actualization of like a lot of the pieces that I think we've been working towards sonically, as far as songwriting, and Nick was so huge in just tightening what was already there, and adding some ideas that like they were, I wouldn't say small suggestions, but they were like somewhat subtle things that after the fact it's just like, oh duh, this is like this is so much better. Like
it feels so natural.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that there was a version of these songs that didn't have that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
That's all this is like the most layers. Yeah. Like these new songs that we have, like these are the most stuff that's been in a Career Day song are going to be on these next two songs, and take that however you will.
We are feeling this maxing
feels like it
on one of the songs.
Well, then
it
is what it is.
No, but
if I can also, I feel like these two songs are kind of like the epitome of what like it sounds like what the ethos of Career Day was originally, of like you know, I don't want to spoil too much here, but like, you know, one of the songs is kind of like a call to action of like, hey, look at the world right now. Like, let's do something about this, you know? Like, something small is cool, but like, let's get moving, you know? And the second one kind of being like, okay, like, yeah, the world is kind of a fucked up place right now, but like, don't let that take away your like joy in your community, and you know, make sure you like cherish these moments, because like, you know, there's so many reasons not to nowadays. And I don't know, like,
I mean, I understand that. I feel like the beginning of this year, like January and most of February, was just me being like, why do I even exist here? Like, everything is trash.
Yeah.
You know, with the Epstein files, like, that I feel like just melted my brain to a whole new level. Like, there's all the most obvious, like, trauma, you know, involving the girls. But it was like all the other stuff that also came with it. I was just like, everything sucks, and like me going to Taco Bell is causing all of this. Literally. Like, I don't want to do anything. I deleted every like apps off my phone, you know. And it took me until like pretty much like March before I started kind of feeling like I should try to be a normal person, and it included going to shows. You know, like going to a Dear Mary Ann show. Nice. That was like the first show this year where I was like, oh, right.
That's a fun way to get back into society.
I should be doing this like every week or every 2 weeks, you know, at least.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. So it's just these songs, we can't wait. We're going to start rolling them out probably in the summer some point. So
I was just about to ask that.
Stay tuned on that. But it's been such a long, it has been a long wait that we just got first mixes back, and like yesterday, and
wow,
like the second I heard the first mix, the first song of that we got sent to us, there was just this like lightness that I felt. Like I was like walking back to clock back in out of my lunch break back into Trader Joe's, and there was just this feeling of like, oh yeah, that's why I do this grueling, soulless job that's killing me, and waking up at 5 a.m. 4 or 5 times a week.
There is some kind of balance happening.
It's for this. It's for how
karma's working.
It's for how euphoric this feels, like it's ultimately it's been worth it to at the end of it, because like ultimately all this, like, you know, Jacob earlier said something about time will tell how like what bands will last or become marquee or any of that stuff, and have legacies. And I think that's something that as I get older, there's a part of me, I used to care about that more when I was younger, and I still do care about that on some level, but I think that you have to kind of curb your you have to kind of curb your grandiosity to stay in the moment. And
I feel like I can relate to that line of thinking.
And like
especially in the
these
last
songs are
couple
largely
of years
that. It's like shaking yourself out of the doldrums of how this world beats the shit out of you, and not saying to not care or just think about something else, but in spite of all that, and because of that, you should suck it up and get ready to go, like, take to the streets. And you should also really make sure that you are there for the people in your life. They're also in this world right now, struggling.
Yeah.
And if you are just doom scrolling forever, you are. And the thing is, some people don't have people right now, and so, like, you know, not
it's
losing
so
the
crazy you're saying
the gratitude.
This.
Yeah.
But yeah, that line of thinking, like talking about earlier this year, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, I'm laying in my bed and I'm doom scrolling. And of course I'm learning all this different stuff, and I'm just like, at a certain point I had to be like, okay, I'm gonna not play with my phone. I deleted everything off of it, but then it was like, you know, I'm gonna go see my mom more often, because she's only 10 minutes away, and at this point I see her once a month, and I don't really know why, because I like her, she's cool. I don't have a bad relationship with her. And my dad's gone, so it's like, why not go see her 2 or 3 times? I started watching TV again just to hang out with her.
Oh, that's
you
awesome.
know, just to have something common to do without instead just talking.
My mom and I have been talking about the new Scrubs a lot. Yeah, we're both big Scrub heads.
My favorite show, I would say.
Do you like the?
I haven't watched the new ones yet.
Same. The newest episode.
The
yeah, I
old
didn't see,
ones, that's
Oh,
definitely
you haven't seen any of the revival?
No, not yet.
You should. It's good.
I've seen an interview with them where they're like, "It's great," and I'm like, "Oh, I believe you."
I
but
believe you. When you put it
I
that
don't
way,
have
I
cable
believe
yet,
you.
so I don't know. I gotta wait for it to pop up on something.
Yeah. Yeah, but no. So yeah, it's just it is nice to and it, in a meta way, it's like for me, this band is kind of an outlet for getting me out of bed and wanting. This band sometimes is my like Molotov cocktail that I can throw,
that.
you know, and like I'm really grateful to. It's been like a long arc of like first finding Jacob and then finding Kamal and then through Kamal finding Milo, and it's nice that it's taken time and there's times where it feels like it's been a long time, but more and more lately it feels like it's a new time.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for that, especially because like, don't think the government's getting any better. Spoiler warning.
Fortunately, I don't think you're wrong.
and so if
But
when
it
crisis,
is like important to still cling to like these few good things that you do have in your life.
and to also tie into the world outside of it. Like I recently joined the ICE out of New York, like Artist Coalition, and it is something that like this band we try when we can to have like various different literature or like a QR code that we try to. I have to re-update it or just find a more cohesive way to organize. But we've like done things like have a QR code at our table that just links to a document that has like organizations that are in the locality that we're playing in, and like to me, I am grateful for the opportunity to get to do that, and like these, by virtue of these songs feeling as vibrant as they are, it like inspires me to like right now I'm tired. Like I'll be real, like I'm tired. I worked 9 out of the last 10 days, 5 a.m. shift, like 5 a.m. wake ups, and like we'll see how this set goes. Gotta warm up.
I went to work before I drove up here too.
I've warmed up a lot
That's kind
here.
of why I was like, yo, if you guys got any problems, 4 o'clock is a good time to tell me, because if I don't gotta be up here early, I'm probably not trying to be up here early.
Yeah, no. But I am grateful for the opportunity that we're gonna get to be in a room with people and sing these songs and talk our shit.
That seems like a great place to wrap this up, unless you guys have anything else. I don't know what time it is.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys all for doing
Absolutely.
this, for saying yes. It was super last minute. I asked you like 2 days ago.
This is the first.
Literally. I started this podcast 3 days ago.
I'm easy to talk to. Just talk
literally,
to me.
like I remember.
He can talk to a wall.
I've done it.
I can
do it
appreciate
often.
that.
Well, this was super, and this was I think this was our first interview as this version of the band. So
Fuck yeah.
this is awesome.
Hell yeah. Put that in the W category for me.
Yes. Dubs only. Thank you. Awesome.
I'll probably have you guys introduce yourselves, because I'll be honest, I know Desmond. Man, is your name actually Bob?
No.
All right, well then, that's the only name I've got down right now.
No worries. Cool.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.